Welcome back to Coast, the show that celebrates the men and women who are making coastal Mississippi such a great place to live, work, play. That was a great conversation we just had with Josh Morgerman, the top hurricane chaser in the world. He's living temporarily this season in Bay St. Louis in a home he calls the Hurricane House. And as we all know, he's had a very active season. He's from LA, but he's become, coastal Mississippi, and he loves this place. And let's hope we don't have to have any more conversations with him before the end of this season. Now let's switch gears, and we're going to move to Todd Trenchard. Speaking of making this place a better place to live, work, and play, the Bacot McCarty Foundation is working all day, every day, bringing leaders together for the good of coastal Mississippi to help fill gaps wherever they might be. And Todd, we appreciate you being a good friend of the show and for joining us again. How you doing, man?
Doing well, Ricky. I don't know if I'm up on the screen or not. I'm looking over at my computer. Maybe you've got me, but good to be here.
Oh, yeah, we hear you fine. I mentioned at the beginning of the show that Courtney might join us. She's actually not in Jackson County today, but we'll have her on future shows. Tell us who Courtney Anderson is.
Well, Courtney was actually with the American Cancer Society and came into my office right around the end of February and was trying to get me to support the American Cancer Society. And I started thinking, we communicated a little more, and eventually she became our development director. She's doing a fantastic job, learning a little bit about what we do, but at the same time, she's also getting us some headwinds into the Harrison County market. We just had a great event the other night that I think we'll touch base on, but it really has a lot of potential. Just somebody that has a lot of passion, Ricky, and you have to have that in the nonprofit world, and she certainly has that.
Yeah, I see that so clearly, and I think she's been a terrific addition to your team. I've always supported the Bacot McCarty Foundation. I knew Jolly. And I know the history well since Hurricane Katrina. You and I have worked closely together, not only when I was president and publisher of the Sun Herald, but also president and publisher of the Mississippi Press and the Press Register over in Mobile. You guys have really been focused on, first of all, standing the test of time. Keeping the relationships going, raising a tremendous amount of money, being a great conduit in the community where there's need. And I think it's terrific that you've always had interest along coastal Mississippi. You've always been involved along coastal Mississippi. But what's happening these days, the pandemic and adding Courtney Anderson to the team has given you a chance to sort of really broaden your efforts and maybe deepen your efforts is probably a better way to say it, to get deeper into the community. You mentioned the dinner the other night, had the pleasure of attending, where you brought about 20 or so community leaders together in a pandemic safe environment. Mm-hmm. And we had a conversation about Bacot McCarty Foundation and about relationships and why those are important. That's always been at the core of the success of the Bacot McCarty Foundation, getting leaders, deeply engaged, not necessarily around raising money, but about understanding where the needs are. Then you've always believed the money will follow. That's your approach, isn't it?
Absolutely. And again, this idea, I think I said the other night, I thought it'd last a year. It's now, 17 plus years later, and we have made a profound difference across the entire region. And it has been because it hasn't been about how much money we could raise, but find those needs in the community. And maybe if we find resources, we direct those resources to those needs. We do have some substantial funds under us that I go out and relationships and maybe get people to help support us. But we're just as happy to channel those monies to like a Boys and Girls Clubs, to a dream program, a Special Olympics, just how we can better our community. So it's a unique approach, and it's worked very well for us. Adding Courtney to the team just is going to expand our base, and we work well together. And I'm excited at this part of my career to see that it can go to even another level.
Well, Todd, you know that I know this well, but one of the reasons the Bacot McCarty Foundation works so well is because you're in that key position. Your passion, first of all, you're smart, really smart. You have a banking background. You could be doing just about anything. probably could just make money just going around the United States telling your story. Because when your mother left you on the steps of Homes of Grace to die, I don't think she or anyone realized that you would be at this point in your life at this moment. But we replayed the conversation I had with Butch Osterlet yesterday. What a great community leader he is. But one of the things he said in there was that your leadership of the Bacot McCarty Foundation, and you in particular, you're a testament to second and third chances. And you have emerged as unbelievably important leader in coastal Mississippi. Again, that's one of the reasons Bacot McCarty Foundation works. But Todd's point is, Butch's point is right. You are a testament to second and third chances. Talk about that for a second.
Well, again, it's sort of surreal to look back at it, but like you were saying in the interview with Butch, I came to the Home of Grace not to get sober or recover, but my mother brought me there to die. So it was at death's door that something happened. And, looking back at it, as I tell my story, and I have so many thousands of times now, you've never gone too far to give up. And, so many people do give up and they throw in the towel, and it may be not the first chance, second chance. In my particular case, I've been to 40 treatment centers before the Home of Grace, but on that 41st one, something happened, and I decided at that time and moment that I was going to dedicate my life to making this a better place, and God willing, I've been able to live out that dream. And it really is. When you've experienced it and you're living it, it's so surreal that, it's you.
But today, as Butch points out, you're in a position to inspire others who need a second and third chance, and to inspire leaders to give people a second and third chance. Don't write people off. I mean, you're a testament to people did not write you off. And then once you came out of Homes of Grace, you had to prove yourself, and you knew every day was a new day toward the inevitable proving of yourself to the people who mattered in your life. And you showed them that you could make a difference. They started to give you more and more opportunities, and the rest is kind of history now. But your passions for what is important in a community. Are you there, Todd?
I am.
Okay, so your camera went away. That's okay. We'll continue to talk and we'll figure that out. But your passion for the community is what really makes this work. And one of the things I think that make the Bacot McCarty's future so bright is the fact that now Courtney Anderson is part of your team, and she is equally passionate.
She is. Again.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I'm sorry. She is, and again, that's what sort of stopped me in my tracks. I come across a lot of people, and Courtney was just she was special in that she was very passionate about the American Cancer Society, but she started talking about how she felt that God had really laid on her heart to make a difference. And when you get to know her, she has that infectious personality that she's never met a stranger, and we complement each other. She has some strengths that I don't, and I certainly have some strengths that maybe she's growing into. And that's what it takes when you have a team. You find people with different skill sets, and I knew when the pandemic hit that I could sit back and sort of wait for what it was doing, or we could sort of grow what we were doing. And so I've implemented a few things. I actually hired a couple people that we'll be talking about when this hopefully comes out the other side. We're going to be a stronger and much more effective organization. So there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. What we did the other night was just one of those examples of where I hope this foundation will continue to go. But somebody needs to do that. Somebody needs to be that person that's out there in the community looking for needs all across the region. And maybe somebody over here that I can connect with somebody over in Bay St. Louis. And I've spent an entire career like yourself where we've been able to travel so many different geographical areas that we have a sort of overview of, I guess, this entire region a lot more than most people, could by staying in a building. So
you're so lucky. You've got a supported board chairman, and you've got a great board. Talk about that for a second.
Well, our board of directors has really given me a lot of latitude to, they trust in what I bring to them. They're more than helpful of just giving me names of people that they think could expand our vision. But it takes a board of directors. Not, I don't use them so much to help raise the money. I do use them to help introduce me to people so I can talk about the vision that we have. And some of them are in the media, world. Michael Sunderman the other night gave a great talk about his magazine.
Hey, let's do this.
Yeah.
I was coming to the end of this segment. We'll pick it up and continue the conversation about your board, Bacot McCarty Foundation board, when we come back from this break. But this is Todd Trenchard, the Executive Director of the Bacot McCarty Foundation, and we'll see you after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Mathews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We have Todd Trenchard with us. He's the Executive Director for the Bacot McCarty Foundation. And Todd, when we went to break, we were talking about your board, and you were mentioning Michael Sunderman said a few words the other night and his support through South Mississippi Living. Talk more about your board.
Well, a lot of people may not know, but Kevin Miller, who's the tax collector of Jackson County, is actually our board chair. And Kevin's been an integral part of our board for a very, very long time. Our vice chair is Joe Martin. Everybody knows Joe Martin, Mr. Jackson County himself. Rich Westfall has been a part of our board of directors for a long time and got a great postal, flair to him. And, the board is so important have these people that are strategically placed around our region. We even have General Jeff Hammond from up in Hattiesburg. Jeff serves on our board of directors. When we all come together, we bring really a wealth of knowledge, and we can give some reports, but we also kick around some ideas. It's just it's a great organization that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. We talk about the pandemic and rough financial times. Well, we're actually on pace right now to by far have our largest year ever with donations. Well over $1 million has come into the foundation this past year. And it just seems like it's unlimited what its potential could be as we expand even further.
Well, that is terrific. So let's talk a little bit about doing business in the pandemic. We've talked a little bit about this before, but it's good to kind of refocus it. The pandemic, once we sort of got our arms around what we had to do to sort of survive, and we became really aware of how urgent it was for us to continue to keep the nonprofit community, whole as best we can, and to get the economy back open again. It was just about, how do we operate in this environment? How do we practice social distancing, wear a face mask, and do all the stuff we need to do there? And then also, how do we use technology? Talk a little bit about how life has changed for you guys.
Well, again, I've gotten a lot from just this radio show. When we first started it, you were starting it right before the pandemic, and then before you know it, this became sort of the medium that we all started using. We do it at colleges where we'll meet through Skype. I didn't know what Skype meant before January timeframe. But this is such a unique opportunity to where you can communicate with people over long distances without them having to drive. So there's actually some advantages to this. You start seeing the potential where you can just get on a Skype call with several people once a week if you'd like to, instead of adapting your entire week around it. Again, like anything else, I think you adapt to the situation that's at hand. I would have never thought this would have gone on as long as it has. I remember, over the summer thinking that this was over and we let our guard down and we almost got in worse shape. than we were when we started. So it's been a learning process, Ricky. And again, like we were talking before the show, it's now time that we maybe invest in some resources that make our technology even easier, more efficient. And I'm going to make sure that we take that from the show and go out and do that.
I saw a great interview this morning with Bill Gates. And of course, he's studied pandemics around the world long before we experienced this particular pandemic. And he says that we're lucky that we have new types of technology. We have some of the smartest people in the world focused on what we can do to get a vaccine moving forward as rapidly as possible. But even in the best case scenario, he said that the pandemic won't be this thing that just lives on for the rest of our lives, but it may live on into 2022, which would mean that even though we get a vaccine, we'll start to slowly but surely get that into place. But we'll have to continue to learn to live like this. And one of the other things I mentioned to you was you start reading some of the business publications. Some of the jobs that have gone away may not come back because companies have learned to be much more productive using technology. That's sort of the downside. It's a good side from a corporate point of view. It's not a good point from a pure economic point of view in terms of bringing unemployment down faster. But technology has always changed our lives. Technology certainly changed my life in the media industry. And this pandemic is going to assure that changes may be institutionalized, and that's just kind of the reality, isn't it?
It is. And again, in the nonprofit sector, the nonprofit organizations are having to get innovative on how they do things. They can't have their normal fundraising in a big room. So you're starting to see a lot more virtual auctions, virtual events. It may be a little bit harder for a sponsor to think, why should I sponsor something where I can't be at? But I think we'll work through that process. That's one of the things that I'm trying to do by bringing all the nonprofits together, see what their challenges are, see how we can maybe be the voice that steps up for them. Because, a lot of them are day to day working with a segment of society that really takes a lot of their time. So you need somebody like this organization to help.
It takes 1,000 points of light to make a community work, and nonprofits working together and helping to fill gaps. And the pandemic has certainly increased the number of challenges, increased the number of gaps, increased some of the challenges for funding. We just have to be focused on helping each other. But anyway, Todd, we'll look forward to talking to you again in the near future. This is Todd Trenchard from the Bacot McCarty Foundation. Have a great day, Todd.
Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate all you do.
Thank you, buddy. Take care. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow.